ThinkTech Hawaii. Civil engagement lives here.
Aloha and welcome to Adventures in Small Business, a collaborative effort by the U.S. Small Business Administration, VBOC, Veterans Business Outreach Center of the Pacific, SBDC, Small Business Development in Hawaii, and MCBL, the Patsy Teaming Center for Business and Leadership, all great partners. I'm Terri Funakoshi, and I'm your host today from MCBL. And today we have Elizabeth Lim with us. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Elizabeth is the president from SRTEL. So Elizabeth, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I came to the islands about 30 years ago. I came as an EMT working at Kapilani Medical Center. And then shortly after, I started my family. I am a mother of 5 children.
Big family.
Yes.
Great. So Elizabeth, tell us about your business, your company, SRTEL.
Yeah, SRTEL started about 8 years ago. I'm a survivor for sex abuse, and you know, as a survivor, you just kind of move on. You know, you just move forward. But it hit home again. And once that happened, I knew that I had to do something about it. And so I developed the Scream, Run, and Tell program.
Okay, so the SRTEL is for Scream, Run, and Tell.
Yes. Yes.
And I know we were talking earlier, you said it's a prevention method.
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about that SRTEL method?
Yes, yes. SRTEL is a method that I developed. This is one of the tools, the book, and it's actually a prevention program that after what had happened to my family, I knew that we had to do something more than what was being taught to our children. So I started doing some research on some of the programs that are out there, like Stop, Drop, and Roll, Click It or Ticket, 911, and they all had some interesting things like repetitive teaching, keeping the innocence of the child, and small and simple techniques without disclosing any of the gory stuff. So as I did the research, then I thought, well, what about something like that for sex abuse? And that's where the words Scream, Run, and Tell came.
Okay, so how do you implement this? Do you teach it at school or parents, caregivers?
Yes, we started out as wanting to just kind of read it to the children and educating parents. As we had started that, someone in the professional industry spotted it and wanted me to share it in Florida. So we started sharing it in Florida to police officers. Then we went on and shared it to social workers, counselors, and then teachers, of course. So we were doing that in the mainland for quite some time.
Okay, so you've been successful in the mainland for the last, what, 8 years?
Yeah, about, yeah.
Oh, okay. And I know you recently said you were bringing it back to Hawaii. Can you tell us about that?
Yes.
So, I know sometimes it's hard in Hawaii to start a business.
Right, it is hard. As it started to grow, there were certain aspects of it that I did not know. And just to be really honest, like, I know my product. I know it works, you know. But how to run a company is a total different animal. Right. So that's when, a year ago, when I walked into the Patsy Mink Center, and they were able to help me through the simple things and the more difficult ones, like, you know, taxes.
Yeah. You all got to pay taxes.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so you went to the center, and tell us, you know, what you learned there, and now, you know, now what are you doing here in Hawaii?
Right. So they taught me from the simple things of advertisement, of how to seek in others to want to pursue your dreams too, and help them achieve theirs. They took me step by step. So not only did they teach me what needed to be taught, but individually they taught me things that I personally need to know. So
Yes, I know we were talking, and they helped with your basic business, set up your taxes, like you said, advertising, promotion. And I know you said that you're a nonprofit, so you also took their nonprofit class.
Right.
Can you kind of tell us about that?
Yes. Well, having a nonprofit is completely different in some of the aspects is the grants. You know, you have to know how to write grants, and the Patsy Mink Center was really good in helping me get the assistance that I needed there. And also, you know, they really did go the extra mile by helping me with having someone there take notes. And the things that I did not understand, it was repetitive teaching me, just kind of like the book, repetitive teaching.
Great, great, great. So for others out there, you know, who run a nonprofit, any advice you can give them? You know, because you've been doing it for the last, you know, 8 years on your own, and then when you wanted to kind of move forward, you took the class, and you know, where are you today, and what kind of advice can you share with us?
I would advise someone who's just starting to go to the Patsy Mink Center. Don't do what I did. And those who have started and want to know if they're kind of on the right path, I would definitely say go to the Patsy Mink Center. It just has done so much for me, and the Y too has helped out in helping me advance with the program.
I know you had you were telling me you had to do a lot of lengthy paperwork to register your nonprofit. Right. You know, to get the grants. Can you kind of share about that? Maybe you had some legal help there too? Right.
So we needed to get an attorney to do the bylaws, and Patsy Mink Center was right there again. We needed to fill out all the paperwork for just registering, and also like the 501c3, which is the paperwork that I had to get also. And you know, after every appointment, there was a task that was fulfilled. And so, yeah, I just would advise anybody who is really starting a company to just look into it, make an appointment, to the Patsy Mink Center.
Yeah, I know that we were talking, and it's the nonprofit seems to be kind of on a trend. I mean, it's good and bad. I know a lot of, you know, trying to help the topics here with all the Me Too and everything. Right. You know, what other organizations maybe did you get introduced to help promote your book and all the work that you're doing? Right.
Because the YWCA is so involved in equal advancement for women, there's been so many great opportunities to meet others. And one of the nonprofits that I met is End Sex Abuse. And with them, we are collaborating ideas so that we could move forward. Now, I actually am a prevention, so I don't want it to happen at all. Right. And so, but with that said, I do have to know everyone and who are the players with after the fact, because what Scream, Run, and Tell does, it funnels the people that need help. And if they come to us for prevention, a lot of times they come up to me asking me for help. So it's good to know where they can get help and how I can help them through it. And
oh, so not only do you do prevention, you have a lot of resources, you know, through your connections and your networking for people who have, you know, who are actually victims.
Right, right.
Got it. Yes. Okay. You know, so, you know, you do such great work, and I really wanted to ask you more about, you know, your method. So can you share with us the book that you've written?
Yes. So this book was written for as young as 1 year old. And the object of it is to keep the innocence of the child. That's what we want to accomplish. And so when you start reading it, as you can tell,
so cute.
It's just really simple, and it has, you know, come play with me. And then here it's something went wrong somehow. And so it has the word there, but it doesn't describe a place. Because as I was doing the research, I realized that we were teaching our children a place. And as I was doing the research, I realized that grooming would probably be the best place to stop, because once you are touched in the private area, then that's the first stages of trying to recover from something like that. So it's best to address it when the child is being groomed. And we do a lot of education on that, grooming. And so that's why we want to stop it where the child feels uncomfortable. So over here on this page, it's basically addressing the parent. It's telling them what to do. It's telling them to acknowledge that that behavior is a good behavior, and then to address it right away. So if the child doesn't like being touched on the shoulders, the parent should be able to go up to whoever's touching the shoulder of the child and tell them to stop. It gives the responsibility back to the parent. And then again, here you have the same scenario, but different perpetrators. And always going back to the responsibility of the caretaker, an adult. And it's repetitive teaching throughout the book.
I see. And I love the artwork. Can you tell us about that?
Thank you. Yes. The artwork was done by my children and my niece, Autumn. And as we were cutting all the little figurines, and we put this together. So, yeah.
Does it represent anything special?
Yes, actually, I came to America when I was about 7 years old. And I remember sitting down, not knowing any English, and the Brown Bear book by Eric Carle. And I remember vividly looking at that yellow duck. And so it's always had a really fond memory in my heart. And so it was really by his inspiration that we did that artwork.
That's great. So with the SRTEL method, what's your demographic? I know you said you read it to kids, but can you tell us more about who you target to implement this program?
Yeah, we, because it's been desired by professionals, we educate on a professional level teachers so that they can, in return, educate the child and the parent. Professionals like police officers that go into the schools already and talk to the children, and counselors, So do they have to get training from you in order to implement the SRTEL method? Yes, I definitely say you just need to have the training. Without the training and not understanding the depths of the simplicity of the book, you're not going to get its full effect, because there's so much in the book that I would need 2 hours to explain. So I definitely would say take the training. The books do have an instruction on how to use it. If you're going to get it, I would definitely say read it. But to understand sex abuse and on a legal, on a counseling, on a health, then I would say definitely take the training.
Okay, great. So you've reached many industries with this. So, so remind me, what were the industries?
Counselors, social workers, police officers, teachers, and parents.
And parents. Oh, okay, great. So where can they get that information?
Right. The website, you can go to the website and you can contact us. And yeah.
So what is your website so we can know?
Yes, that's good, right? srtel.org.
Okay,
so,
great.
Or you can just Google Scream Run Tell and it should pop up.
Okay, great. So we're going to be taking a break shortly. So I want to leave you with, again, Scream Run Tell. Can you just tell us what you're looking for as far as your volunteers before we leave?
Yes, my volunteers. We're looking for students who are doing internships in any area, parents who want to donate time, and retired that want to contribute to the society to start making a difference in the actual prevention for sex abuse.
Okay, great. So right now we're going to be taking a break for 1 minute, and we'll be right back to talk more with Elizabeth Lim from SRTel.
I just walked by and I said, "What's happening, guys?" And they told me they were making music.
They said I could play, so any chance to play at all. You know, that's my life. I love music.
Yeah, I saw it.
Welcome back. We're with Elizabeth Lim, president of SRTel. So Elizabeth, tell us about some of the things that you're doing. Where can we find you out in the community?
Right. We are doing work with the community as far as sharing our message through some of the community services that are out there. You can see us doing handprints and sharing the message. Of course, it's sex abuse prevention, so we're not going to be talking about sex abuse. So we'll give them information, and then if parents have questions or anything, we have somewhere where they can give us some information, their email or phone number, and we contact them.
So what kind of events have you been doing that, we see the handprints that you work with the kids?
Yeah, that was the Child and Youth at the Capitol, the one that you see there. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So again, you were saying that you don't, when you go to these events, you don't really talk about the sex abuse. You do just more activities with children to bring awareness.
Right.
So how do you get the message to the parents? How are the parents getting in contact with you?
Right. Well, we don't talk about sex abuse because we want to protect the innocence of the child. So we do give out the flyers. We briefly let them know what this is about. Without disclosing anything that could rob the innocence of the child.
I see, okay. And then you were mentioning you also do lectures at schools and things.
Yes, so we do lectures at schools and do trainings for teachers and professionals. Mm-hmm.
So I know you said you came back to Hawaii. You were successful in the mainland. It was kind of harder to break into Hawaii. So who have you worked with here, and what are your goals to reach here in Hawaii?
Right. Well, here we've worked with private preschools, parent groups, and as far as professionals, counselors. So. And part of the goal is really to get the word out there for prevention, because if you understand that preventative is for it to never happen, for your child to grow up and one day be sitting at a dinner table and saying, "Wow, that didn't happen to me," then you were successful.
Right.
You don't want to wait, though. I don't, how can I do this? Just from my own experience as a survivor myself. And then it happening to one of my children. Don't wait for a certain age, because you really don't know when it's going to happen. And it's better to have implement something, so that they're already trained on how to act.
Right. I mean, I hear your message, and I think it's so innovative. Your technique, your method for prevention, And my question is really, how do we get the right people to hear this message? I mean, I know we were talking and the schools use a different method. Do you know what they're currently doing and maybe how we can get them to look at your method?
Right. The method that they use is called either good touch, bad touch, or the bathing suit area. And our method is more empowerment, have a voice, speak out when you feel uncomfortable. Because when you study sex abuse and you realize that a lot of children aren't really touched in the bathing suit area. And the good touch, bad touch, well, as you're being groomed, you're being touched, okay, but the child feels uncomfortable, yet that's not a bad touch to them. And a lot of times children are asked to touch. Children are asked to use the face. So to give them a specific area or a specific way that's appropriate and inappropriate, it's almost stopping from the child speaking out when they feel uncomfortable. So we definitely are new at the techniques or the information that we're teaching children. So a lot of times people are like, well, is that something that's being taught? Well, no, it's new. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's new.
So I know you invented this method,
Yes.
You know, because you have experience in this area. So, you know, I really want everyone to really hear your story and why you created this method, because I think it's so important. So can you tell us a little bit about your story and how this came about?
Yeah. Sure, and I'll try to do it without getting emotional. You know, as I mentioned, I am a survivor, and I knew it wasn't me. It wasn't that I hadn't done anything wrong. So I was able to move on with life. The statistics are 1 out of 5 children will be sexually abused, and I have that lucky number. I have 5 children. And shoot. Well, so when it hit home again, the good thing is that I had taught my children certain techniques. And so when it happened, that child immediately came to us. But you still go through this hardship of that I failed or that I wasn't there for my child, that, you know, even though I had done everything in my power, I still didn't succeed. At least that's what I felt, right? And so then you're caught up in a situation where, how do I help? And then you have this anger. And so you have to make these decisions, right? Do I not let my kids go anywhere? Or do I channel this anger in a different way? And so then I had to start doing something for prevention, because someday my child will come to me. Sorry. And I just want my child to know that I'm so proud that they came up to me, and then I'm on their side, and that I want to help as many parents that I can from that pain of being a parent, of taking care of your loved one and feel like you failed them. So.
Right. Thank
sorry.
You. No, don't be sorry. Thank you so much for sharing. I mean, I know this is such a hard topic,
right.
and I personally know how many people you've helped. I see and hear testimonials all the time about how your book has helped people. You know, and so I really want the viewers to know how they can get this method. How can they implement it? So again, I know you said that, you know, you go to schools, parent-teacher associations, where you talk to a group of parents, you know, 20 parents, 40 parents, and just explain your method, you know, and really just protecting the innocence of the child. So you know, I hear your message. It's important, and I want people to know that. So again, please help Elizabeth and SRTEL. You can find more information on srtel.org.
Yes.
And she's always looking for volunteers, donations,
Yes.
and any help you can give. So thank you so much, Elizabeth, for sharing
you.
today. We appreciate you and all that you do. And we're going to be wrapping up. That's Adventures in Small Business. I'm Terri Funakoshi, Director of the Patsy Teaming Center for Business and Leadership. And thank you. Mahalo.